It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, where there are two sides to every story. Enjoy the broadcast. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the Ella Johnson Show. I am so excited. Listen, we are here every single day this month simply because it's Black History. And like I told you, we're going to come every single month with a new legacy lesson. And sometimes, we'll bring current events and tie them into history because, like I always said, that there's nothing new under the sun. So if you were here last night, you already know how this goes. We're going to talk. We're going to bring in comments from the audience. Feel free to leave your comments, ask questions, your suggestions, anything that you want. This is our show. So we want you to be a part of it. Now, if you're watching from Facebook, do me a favor and share the broadcast. Just share your little heart out. Okay. We need that. We need more views. We need more conversation. All right. We need more people to get involved in these Black History shows. And also, if you are watching from YouTube, thank you. Do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. Since you are already there, you might as well subscribe, right? If you're watching from LinkedIn or any of the other streams, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us tonight in this conversation. Hello, guys. How's everybody?
I'm all right.
Yes, we're all good. Yes. Well, guys, last night Terry was with us, Heather was with us, but Charlie wasn't with us. He was, some things came up. He wasn't able to join us, but he is excited about being here tonight. So I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves first before we jump into the show. Charlie, you first.
Well, my name is Charlie McCants. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. Basically, what I do is I own a ABA basketball team. That's American Basketball Association. And with that, I give young men the opportunity of living their dreams of playing professional basketball. We are in the South region, which range from Texas to Georgia. Have about 60 teams in our region. And in addition to that, I give people the opportunity to protect their families and their business by having access to an affordable attorney. And so that's kind of what I do at the moment.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're excited to have this conversation with you. Wonderful. Now, Miss Heather.
Hello, I'm Heather. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm with the Deep Greenwood Foundation, and so we focus on preservation, and also we work with finding descendants so we can get them certified in case reparations does come to fruition.
Wouldn't that be nice? We talked a lot about that last night. Hello,
Yes,
somebody. Well, welcome again to the Ella Johnson Show, my friend. And
Thank you.
Terry.
Hello.
He's a man of many words. Give him a second. Tell us who you are, Terry.
My name is Terry Backus. I'm a native of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yes, I'm a sovereign citizen of the Muscogee Creek Indian Nation. I have a tour company, tour of blackwallstreet.com. I give tours, a comprehensive tour of the Greenwood District here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I just love to be on podcast.
Oh, yes. He loves being on the Ella Johnson Show. Number one podcast that you like to be on?
Yeah, the best one going.
Okay, I kind of want you to say the name. I want to hear it come out your mouth. I want to hear you say it.
The Ella Johnson Show.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a doggone commercial.
Johnson Show.
I love it. That's
every
right.
day this month.
That's right. That's right.
At 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central.
Well, dang. That's all right.
We have 26 more days to go after tonight.
That's right.
Be sure
That's
to
right.
tune in each and every night.
I love it. I love it. Y'all heard it. All right, guys, listen. I want to thank all of you for being here tonight to share in this conversation with me, because I think it's an important one. Now, they say that history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Tonight, we aren't just talking about a headline from January 2026. We're talking about a script that was written in the 1890s, polished in the 1950s, and is being performed once again in a federal courtroom in Minneapolis. Now, when the Department of Justice unsealed a felony indictment against Don Lemon and Georgia Ford, they didn't just charge two journalists with conspiracy. No, that's not what they did. They reached back to the archives of American history to dust off a weapon used against every Black truth teller who ever dared hold a camera or a people. There is nothing new under the sun. I've been saying when Ida Wells exposed the truth about lynchings in 1892, they didn't debate her facts. They labeled her a race agitator. Yeah. And burned her printing press to the ground. Ain't that something? Okay, it gets good. When the Chicago Defender was smuggled into the South to give a voice to the Great Migration, judges issued injunctions and white mobs murdered the distributors. They called it sedition. Ain't that something? Now, when Ethel Payne and Alice Dunnigan stood in the White House asking about civil rights, the government tried to pull their credentials. They called them activists to avoid calling them reporters. Now, this is what I want you guys to pay attention to tonight. Fast forward to today. The DOJ is using the conspiracy against rights law. Now, mind you, this is a law that was originally written to stop the KKK, to target a Black man for filming a protest. They are using the FACE Act to claim that a journalist with a camera is a threat to a house of worship. They're calling Don Lemon an outside agitator. I know something about that one. They're calling his reporting a conspiracy. Now, tonight, we break down why this isn't a legal mistake. It's a tradition. We're proving that the government's playbook hasn't changed. They've just upgraded the paper it's printed on. Don Lemon isn't the first, guys. And if we don't speak up tonight and throughout these shows, he won't be the last.
Yeah.
All right. So welcome to tonight's conversation. I want you guys to tell me when you first initially heard about Don Lemon being arrested, Heather, what was your first reaction to this?
I was shocked. I was trying to figure out what for because I don't really watch the news much anymore because Trump drives me crazy. But I didn't know at first what he had been arrested for. And then I looked it up and found out that it was for him inciting I'm not super for sure if it was inciting a riot or whatever, or he was, well, since it was a threat of him going to a church house, I was a little shocked that that's what they got him for when it's freedom of press and he's a journalist. So he almost has to some degree the right to do that.
What about you, Terry? What did you first think when you heard this?
Well, Don Lemon, what can Don Lemon do? You know what I'm saying? Not Don Lemon that be on CNN. You know what I mean? I mean, he's not a tough guy. You know what I'm saying? He might talk a little tough. That's what I was thinking. You know, but I mean, now I see what happened. You know, they did dust off. That's what the administration is doing anyway. They're going back into the laws and see, you know, what type of law can be broken if a person did certain things, you know. So, yeah, Trump's administration is about retribution and revenge. You know,
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
he don't want you talking about him. You know, let him do his thing. You know, that's the way he looking. But when I heard Don Lemon, I was shocked. I truly was shocked.
Yeah, me too. What about you, Charlie? What did you think when you heard this?
I was surprised, but not surprised for the simple reason that the past year of all the things that's been really taking place, that, you know, it's just a case of here we go again. And, you know, when I really look at this is that um, is just the beginning of what's going to take place until something is really done about it. And I think another thing too is that it's kind of like they're pushing the pendulum to really see what they can really get away with and what they can um, prevent people from having access to. But
Yeah.
right now, hey, every day is definitely something new, and I think that we have to um, be outspoken about it and let
Yeah.
speak about it, and not just speak about it, but hey, when it comes around to actually voting again, that we get out and make a change. Because until we do that, it's going to happen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Voting definitely, guys. If you're not registered, now I see Jonathan. I did see your comment. We will address it because it looks like we have some Trump supporters in the house. Everyone is welcome. Like I said, Ella Johnson show is always two sides to every story. So we welcome anyone who opposes our views, and we want you to share them. If you like to be on the show, type that in there, and I'll make it happen for you. But I want to break down what happened, okay, for the people that don't really understand what we're talking about tonight. I want to give you an overview of this case. Protesters gathered city's church to demonstrate against ICE, okay, following the fatal shooting of a local resident, Renee Good. Y'all remember she got shot, you know. Demonstrators entered the church during a worship service chanting ICE out, ICE out. One of the church's pastors is reportedly an ICE official. Now, Lemon was present with a camera crew, live streaming the event for his independent show. Now, he has maintained throughout the broadcast, I'm not here as an activist. I'm here as a journalist. If you saw the video, you saw him say this repeatedly.
You need to take
Lemon
care
was
of it.
indicted by a federal grand jury on charges of conspiracy against civil rights, which is 18 USC Code 241, violating the FACE Act, Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, which also protects houses of worship. Now, federal agents arrested Lemon in Los Angeles while he was there to cover the Grammy Awards. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced the arrest on social media, describing the event as a coordinated attack on the church and stating if you violate that sacred right to worship, we are coming after you. I know you guys have seen it, heard it. Before the indictment, a magistrate judge had initially rejected prosecutors' attempts to charge Lemon, citing a lack of evidence of criminal behavior. Now, Lemon's attorney, Abby Lowell, called the arrest an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment. Okay. Lemon was released without bond and has vowed to fight the charges, stating, I will not be silenced. That's ringing all over social media. He's been saying that. Organizations like the NABJ, which is the National Association of Black Journalists, and former colleagues have condemned the arrest as an attempt to criminalize reporting. Okay. So that's what happened in a nutshell. Okay. So now that we know the breakdown, now we can talk about what happened here. What do you think about that, Heather? Now that you know a little bit more about, okay, this is what it is. He was arrested. He was let out. They didn't sign for him to be arrested. They were like, "There's nothing here." What do you think now?
Um, I'm still concerned because I am like with the National Black Journalists. It's kind of a funny subject. Then they all fall under the First Amendment. That's the right to have religious freedom, the right for freedom of speech. All of that falls under the same thing. My thing is, and I went yesterday evening when we were talking about it, just to see how he ended up in the church. But my impression was he went in there as a journalist to watch these people that were protesting. So in some ways, and I was trying to look at the law to see if that covers him going into the church, or do you have to
Yeah.
be welcomed in? I
Yeah.
don't.
Well, we're going to cover a lot of that because apparently there was a meeting, but I want to share with you guys what the pastor he made a statement. This is what he said. We are grateful that the Department of Justice acted swiftly to protect City's Church so that we can continue to faithfully live out the church's mission to worship Jesus and make him known. Okay. So apparently they were excited. They were glad that they arrested him. They felt like ambushed. But let's just give some context on it. There was apparently a meeting. Okay. There was a meeting that was had between the activists, and Don Lemon was there. Now, let me just say this. The attorney general, that's their smoking gun. That's it. They said that Don Lemon being there meant that he was with it, that he was helping them plan. Now, journalists can show up at these kinds of meetings. It's not unheard of. Okay. That's not a violation of journalism practices. That's not unheard of. The fact that he turned off his phone, they're trying to say, oh, you turned off your phone when they got ready to say where the location that was going to get hit. They can do that as well. It's called competitive journalism. We want to get to the site first because we want to be the first to break the story. That's what journalists do. They compete for airtime to see who can get it right. Okay, not just getting it first, but make sure you're getting it right. So he was in on being able to see this is coming up. I know where they're going. We got it. But they said that they feel like he was conspiring with them when he did that by turning off his phone. So that's kind of what's going on with this meeting and why they feel like, okay, we got it. You know, he shouldn't have been at that meeting. That was a violation. It's just not what journalists do. So that's what happened. So there's a lot of other stuff that's a lot of little stuff I learned today about this, that he had somebody that was riding with him. Like they have to prove. Now, here's the thing. The DOJ has to prove without a shadow of a doubt that he was part of it and not just trying to tell a story. So what do you think about the meeting and now knowing that there was a meeting and he was there? Do you think that that's kind of iffy? Because a lot of some broadcasting stations say that it's not good to go to those kinds of meetings because it creates a bias. It looks like there's a bias. What do you think about that, knowing that he was at this meeting?
I would think that if the event was going on and you a news person, in my mindset is that if I want the story, the best way for me to get the story is be at the story. And if it's the case that I'm covering that event, I'm just
there
dictating what's happening to be able to present it in the news the way that it should come across based upon what my observations are. Not that I'm there to coax it on or enhance people to respond or act a different way, but I'm just there for the story. And that's how I look at it.
So Jonathan, come to the show. Jonathan, I just put the link in the show. You can come up, just click on that link, and that's for anyone who wants to join. If you see this StreamYard, click on that link. It'll bring you into the broadcast and we'll bring you up. We, like I said, all views are welcome. There's always two sides to every story. That goes for anyone that wants to come on. You're more than welcome to that link. Exclamation point. Now, I want to bring up some more of the comments. I appreciate that, what you were saying. This gets into a tricky conversation because the DOJ has to prove that he was with them and that he went there meaning to incite a riot. They got to prove that, okay? Because he can. How
many other people were arrested?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. There were several other people involved, activists that they have. Monica says that's because in the past he's made threats for people to take up arms against ICE. So when you talk all the threats he's made, this is no longer journalism. I haven't seen anything about threats, but I will say this.
I haven't either.
There were other instances that Don Lemon was involved in, and I am going to bring those to the broadcast as well. Y'all are lost. When the white Leo did it to the black people, it wasn't right. Now it's okay. When the white, I don't know what that is, Monica. Please share. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. Yes, because he told them to do it like 6 months ago. I haven't seen any of that. I mean, if that is proven that he's part of it, then let the laws of the land prevail. Okay. Not charging him sets a dangerous precedent for copycats, YouTubers, agitators, and the like. Protecting our right to worship in America is priority number one. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Okay. That brings a better understanding of what happened to Don.
In some
What
ways,
does?
when I was doing my research on this, one thing that I ran into, because I got my undergrad in political science, and I remember, and I went back to look at it. It was called the Alien and Sedition Act, and it's where you couldn't, where they passed a law that you couldn't make fun of. It was when Adams and you couldn't make fun of the president, but you could make fun of the vice president, and they made it where you had the freedom to say whatever you wanted to the president of the United States or anybody else. You just couldn't threaten them, harm them, or cause any kind of danger toward them, or defame their name. And so I thought about that with Don Lemon, because I watched some of his TikToks, and he does go in on Trump a lot, but that's not against the law.
That's correct.
So
there are a lot of people that go in on Trump.
Yeah,
that's nothing new, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I'm thinking part of this is personal, and I'm sure he follows Trump like he watches CNN.
Here, let me.
Hello, we can't hear you now.
Hear you.
Ella, your voice is not coming through. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I took this microphone off.
Okay, you're gone again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, okay, what were we talking about? I'm sorry.
I finished talking about the Sedition and Alien and Sedition Act, and then you were saying something, getting ready to say something.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back to the room. I was talking about the judges. This is what the judges said. Number one, there was no evidence. In fact, they said there was nothing that was absolutely an emergency. They said that the worst behavior alleged was yelling or recording. Now, I'm sure that there had to be, they presented what they had. So if they didn't present evidence, as you say, Monica, I wish they had this information you're talking about, the judge didn't agree with it, whatever it is that they used. I'm not saying they didn't use what you're saying. What I'm saying is what they used wasn't enough. And another one said that this was a vindictive prosecution. That evidence of a conspiracy was non-existent. So there's that. Now, like I said, the DOJ must prove that he intended to stop the service. Did you guys see that in the video? Have you heard anybody say he intended? He just, and in the video, I want to bring this out because we did see this. In the video, it does talk about, he did say, I am not with them. I am here. I'm a journalist. Did he not? Do you guys remember him saying that in the video? Yes. So
Yes.
he established his reason for being there. All right. So they have to prove that. Now, here's where it gets tricky. The DOJ also said he's done this before. So you're like, wait a minute, what? What do you think? What do you mean? He's done this before. I'm gonna get into that, what they're talking about. Do you guys remember? Now, Jonathan, I'm glad that you said this. You said, I want to get back to that, but I want to address this. Everything is not about black versus white. It's principle. He crossed the line, and if nothing is done about it, we're done. Jonathan, you're right. Everything isn't about black and white, but this is Black history. And this is about black and white because this is something that is repeating itself. And we're going to show you that tonight. If you'll stick around, this isn't new. There's nothing new under the sun. A lot of things that have happened that are happening now, they're just repeating. I can't prove whether or not they're saying that because he was black, this happened. What I am saying is that he's not the first black journalist that this has happened to. And I don't know, but have you guys seen this happen to any white journalists? Have you seen anybody say anything about Fox?
Nope.
I mean, they got sued for lying. And they're journalists. And they went to the same, they're supposed to abide by the same journalistic ethics that Don Lemon, that you're holding him to a standard to. I'm just saying. So, there's another thing too, that another term that I want you guys to think about: embedding. Being present at the meeting is simply called embedding. It means that you're sitting in and you're reviewing and everything. Now, what you can't do, now let me make it very clear. You cannot, when you are in these meetings, like I said, journalists, they go to these meetings, they sit in, they hear about what's coming up. They have first knowledge of certain things. I mean, that's what the media does. That's their right. He has a press pass. So he is privy to those things. What you can't do when you're in that room, and like I said, some broadcasting stations don't like their journalists and reporters to go to these meetings because it appears to be biased. Now, what you can't do when you're in there is you can't be a part of the we. In other words, you're sitting, observing, you can't give any input, you can't give any ideas, you can't say anything. So DOJ proved that he did that. Another thing, you can't offer advice, you can't suggest any locations or help them time their movements. He can't be part of that. Now, if the DOJ can prove that Don Lemon was in that meeting to help them create and organize this incitement, if you will, into the church, if they can prove that, then they may have something, because that's something that you can't do. And that's according to the Society of Professional Journalistic Ethics. Okay, that is real. So you can't do that. So if they're able to prove that. So let's get back to this. Let me bring up some more comments. Monica says, we know the federal judges keep doing this. It can go as far as the Supreme Court. That's right. Let's take it all the way. This black man tells you to hate the white man, and he goes home and lays up with a white man. Can we please wake up? Okay, so who he goes home and lays with, that's neither here nor there. I have nothing to do with that. Neither do you. So that's something. But to talk about he goes home and you know, he doesn't tell us to hate the white man. Has Don Lemon said hate the white man? Have you heard him say that?
No.
Have you heard him say that, Charlie?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't heard him say that. And for the record, Monica, he can't get me to hate anybody. Okay. That's definitely not something we do. They know better. Black people push the envelope and cry racism. Well, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Okay. And they're ducking right now. So it is what it is. All right, Terry, you're back. Welcome back, Terry. I'm glad you could join us.
Yeah, I've been hearing everything going on.
Where have you all been? I'm not sure what you mean by that, dear.
I had some technical difficulties.
So I appreciate your comments, Monica. I appreciate you guys chiming in, because like I said, I welcome your comments, because listen, we all just want the truth. What I'm saying is that this man was charged. He was arrested. Do you know how many times black men, and I'm going to say black men is Black history. I'm a black woman and I'm talking about black issues. Do you know how many times black people Black men have been arrested for stuff they haven't done?
Yeah,
No? Then
plenty
you
of
should
times.
definitely stick around for the rest of the month and welcome it because it's real. And so it's nothing new to us to see this reporter being arrested and put in jail. And we're going to bring some of those historical facts tonight to show you this isn't new. Okay? So that's all I'm saying. This is not about hate, Monica. I don't know what race you are. I don't care. I don't hate you. I just want to bring out the truth here. I'm going to tell it. So now I'm going to get back into why the DOJ said that he has done this before. Let's go back to the Jussie Smollett case. How many of you guys remember that? Remember when he said that he that these white people came and did whatever they did to him, and it was a whole big deal? Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Well, how Don Lemon got to be a part of that. Now, he did something I have to admit I probably would not have done. Okay. I would not have done this. He sent a text message to Jussie and told him they don't believe your story. Now, I'm going to stop right there. I want all of you to tell me, what do you think about that when you hear that? That he sent a text message, and Jussie admitted it in court. Okay. He did admit it in court. That's how we found out. So, Terry, what do you think about that when you hear that?
I think, I mean, what I heard about it, I think Don was, he really was out of line. That ain't his place to try, to be telling him that they don't believe his story by way of text. You know what I mean? Like he was, wanting him to text back, for evidence. It's strange that he was at that meeting. Though that's the thing. Why was he at that meeting that the people had? I guess I heard you say earlier to get a jump on other reporters and things.
It's called the scoop in journalism.
Yeah,
it's called the scoop.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
That the scoop ain't gonna work. Look like at where they playing hardball. They playing some real hardball.
So you think that's a
Retribution
problem,
and
Terry,
revenge.
that he was that makes you feel some kind of way knowing he was at that meeting?
I mean, like some things you just don't, I knew he knew how to move better than that. You know what I mean? I'm sure he knew how to move better than that for a school. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you putting yourself right in the middle of something that you're already in the middle of it because you're a journalist. Everything is unfolding right before our eyes. All you gotta do is go to Minneapolis, right? So,
Charlie, what do you think about that? Now that you know that he did this at Jussie Smollett, are you looking at him differently, or it doesn't change your opinion?
Like anything in life, when I mean, if you've been in the industry as long as he has, you still have to apply common sense about what you're doing and how you're doing it. To get the scoop, that's fine and great, but you still have to know where your limitations are and what you are creating to follow a comment like that or a statement or whatever. And to me, I think a lot of times people don't just use common sense about the actions that they're taking until it comes back. And then now, to rethink it, it really doesn't matter because it's already out there.
Yeah, I will admit that when I read this today, that he was at the meeting, that did make me feel, because I know that this happens. These journalists, they're privy to certain things. But now that he's been charged, it's going to look differently. He kind of showed up at the same time that makes it look different. But he said the right things by saying, I'm not with them, but he knew about it. And there's nothing wrong with him knowing about it. There's nothing wrong with him not telling them that this was going to happen. That's not his job. He didn't have to alert the police that this was going to happen. You figure it out, found out yourself. There was another situation. So when he did that, just to put a wrap on that, when he did that, they said that him doing that meant that he was interfering with an investigation. Do you agree? Terry, do you agree that he was obstructing an investigation by doing that?
No, not really. I mean, because I mean, what was going on at the church? Nothing but service, right? And he was going to. They knew that a particular youth pastor, whatever pastor he was a part of ICE, right? So the people that went in the church, they was going to out him basically. But that wasn't an investigation, you know.
Do you think, Charlie, that he was with that when he said that to when he texted that to Jussie? Do you think that he was interfering with an investigation? Because we're talking about interfering with the investigation on Jussie, Terry, not this. When
Oh,
when he texts Jussie, he
okay,
said,
still on that one.
yeah, he said, hey man, they don't believe your story. Was he out of line to do that, Charlie?
I guess that could be a yes and a no, because the reason why I say a yes and a no is that if he sent the text, it's kind of like you're having a friend that's involved in something and you're just giving them a heads up, make them aware. And by doing that, at that point in time, from the authorities' perspective, yeah, they're interfering because you warn them that we are coming. But then when you really look at it, it's an either or.
So Monica says, why go to a church though? The man was not a part of ICE. He was an ICE agent in the past. Good question, Monica. Thank you. Heather, what do you say to that? What was
Well,
so obviously they went to the church because they were trying to prove a point to this ICE agent and say, hey, look, he's hiding in sheep clothing. There's a wolf hiding in sheep clothing. So hey, let's oust him. Let's
well,
out him. Is that, I mean, how do you feel about that? Because there are a lot of mixed reviews about the church. A lot of people like that's hands off. You don't go into a house of worship and do that. It's funny though, because we go into the house of worship lying, cheating, and stealing, but we
yeah,
can't. I'm just saying we should leave those things at the door too. I'm
yeah.
just saying, Monica. But we don't. So those are the things that really defile us, is the stuff that comes out of our mouth when we lie, that defiles us. So I'm just saying, if we really want to go there and talk about that this was just not a righteous thing to do, I mean, let's not go there, because we know there's a lot of unrighteous things going on in the church. Not saying that's what was happening in that church. I'm just saying that it is known to happen at churches. Okay. Yes, we
So
are. We're talking back. We're taking back what's ours. Oh, okay.
yes,
So what
yeah.
what what do you mean by that, Monica? Monica said we are taking back what's ours. I would love to hear your comment on this, because I don't know what ours is. Because if you want to go there and we can talk history for history, the Native Americans were here first, so we took their stuff. If we're gonna talk about paying somebody, taking something back that's ours, if the Native Americans said that, if you're Native American, then maybe you could say that, because ours didn't belong to white people. So I'm just saying. So just please enlighten me on what you're saying on that. So they're targeting ICE agents, but they didn't do their homework. He was no longer
Exactly.
okay.
And that's kind of what I was going to say. It's kind of embarrassing. You go to this church to
Oh, see,
confront this
that's a point
man.
I didn't know. So
Yes.
thank you for that, Monica. So he's no longer an agent,
So
really.
at what point that he wasn't an agent anymore?
That he wasn't an agent. Does that matter to you guys?
Yes, it matters.
Yeah, time frame, because
It
it's
matters.
Terry.
possible he could have been involved in earlier incidents that they created.
The other part of this too is Don Lemon is a reporter. He should have did his homework for real. If he was tipped off and they can prove that. But the other thing is, to go back to the Smollett situation, that kind of makes me question Don Lemon a little bit.
That's true, Monica. I wouldn't want anybody to do that in my church. You're right about that. You got me on that. Because they could have easily waited till afterwards. You just want to go after this guy, get him when he's coming out of the church. That's true.
That's a moral issue, right? To wait on to come out, that's morally right, opposed to going on the inside. But he's in a pickle. Don Lemon is really in a pickle.
I don't know because the reason I say maybe not, maybe he'll get off on this because they have to prove he was part of it.
Well, I mean, yes, he can get off on it, but yet he's still in a pickle by means of having to go through all of this unnecessarily. You know what I'm saying? What all this? It's gonna be a lot of drama pertaining to it, right? Because who he is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He like drama.
Monica, you're welcome to join. She says, I wish I could join. You're welcome to join. So here's another issue that Don Lemon was part of. Okay. And the reason I'm bringing this out is because I did my homework and I don't hear a lot of these types of things coming out because I want to tell both sides of this. Another thing that he was involved in 2019, he was sued by a bartender named Dustin Hick or something like that. I don't know if I finished his name. Now, this guy alleges that Lemon assaulted him, harassed and assaulted him at a bar in the Hamptons. Okay. Have any of you heard this?
That's new to me.
Back in 2019.
Was it physical assault or sexual assault?
I'm not sure. It didn't say which one, and I didn't dig deeper. I just was like, okay, he was harassed and assaulted. And the case got dropped because the plaintiff said, oh, I'm sorry. I don't really remember. My memories of the events are not what I thought they were. Case was dropped. Lemon was cleared. Okay. So knowing these things about Don Lemon, Heather, where are you now as opposed to you were when we started the show?
Right now, I feel like I'm in the middle of a tornado. I don't know what to think now. The Smollett thing really made me start questioning his integrity. And then now you're telling about the bar story. It makes it harder for him to fight a little bit more. And the courts ain't always fair to a black man.
That's true. It's absolutely true.
So when your integrity comes to question, I mean, that makes it a little worse.
That makes it a little worse. I agree. Now let's talk about these other people that were involved, because there were other people involved. Let's see here, right here. These individuals are described as the organizers and primary participants in the church disruption. We have Nakima Levy Armstrong. She's a prominent Minneapolis civil rights attorney and former NAACP president. We have Chantil Allen. She's a St. Paul school board member, an activist who was one of the first arrested in the sweep, guys. We have Traherne Gene Cruz. He's the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Minnesota. We have Jamal. He's a lobbyist and former legislative staffer whose presence at the meetings is a focal point of the indictment. Ugh. This is not pretty.
No.
We have Jerome D'Angelo Richardson. Prosecutors allege he's the one that traveled to the church in the same vehicle as Don Lemon. They were together. And get this, he was heard on the live stream. Check this out. He was heard on the live stream telling him they need to catch up to the others to ensure they didn't miss the start of the disruption. Yeah. Now what? Talk to me, Terry.
Well, like them. I don't know for real. Like, was ICE looking to do? I'm really confused. Why would the school?
I wish I could interview Don Lemon. I wish I could.
you know, come on, man.
I wish I could interview him and bring him to the Ella Johnson show.
I
This
think
is
she
what I
can
would
hear.
ask him. If Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. If Don Lemon were here on this broadcast, what would you ask him, Charlie?
I guess the first question I would
can't
ask,
even hear the
especially
phone.
after you listed the people that
Your
was there
volume is off.
and he was riding with one, that I would ask him, how much did he know about the plans of this event? Because if he's riding with one of the people that basically organized it,
Mm-hmm.
to me, that says
Well,
that
no, this young man is somebody, and I'm going to show the video. Thanks, Terry sent this to me. This guy is someone that Don called to come and assist him.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So he wasn't one of the alleged activists. He was there to assist Don. That's why they were together.
Oh,
Okay. So
So
how
now
did
he's-
even one of them know?
And I'm going to show the video. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and watch this video so you guys can see this guy.
you're frozen on the screen.
Hi, my name is Jerome Richardson. I'm a 21-year-old college senior. I've maintained my silence up until now about my connection to the recent protests at City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, which is my hometown, simply because I'm focusing on finishing my degree and graduating in May. However, with an indictment looming, I fear for my safety and the threat of public doxing. Having overcome many obstacles to reach this point, I really hope to be able to complete this semester and graduating from my degree. On January 18th, I assisted Don Lemon during his visit to the Twin Cities by helping with logistics and connecting him with local contacts. Don was reporting on the situation on the ground during the occupation by DHS and ICE and Border Patrol agents. And at that time, I was proud to support his work in exposing the everyday injustices resulted from the federal government's agenda. As a consequence of this support, I am now being targeted by Trump and the federal administration. I say this to say I'm incredibly proud of those who have already faced their indictment and detention, and I know this fight is far from over. Their courage has certainly inspired me. Yet this is the price of being unapologetic about humanity and the love of Christ. I support the activists who felt compelled to highlight the hypocrisy of how Pastor David Easterwood could simultaneously be a pastor at the church and the local leader of ICE operations. What people are experiencing goes against human and civil rights, as well as the teachings of Jesus, who indeed flipped over tables. So while I've been an active youth leader since the murder of George Floyd, I'm speaking out now because I anticipate being in federal custody sometime in the coming days. I want to share my love and gratitude and ask that you all support the 3 actions. Pray for my safety and my peace of mind. Do not stop fighting against this oppressive system. And please support my legal defense fund, as I am in dire need of you all's financial support and emotional support, as well as prayers.
Okay. Now, what are we thinking?
Ooh. Mm. The sad part for me is, this might sound mean. We told our people to stay home, and as you were listing off those names, I looked them up on Facebook, and they're Black. And that's one thing that we told our people to stay at home because we were going to be targets. And now this has happened. And I looked up about 4 of those people, and they're all Black. And the names kind of said they were Black too. So that's the reason why I looked them up. And I'm concerned because those are the reasons why we said stay at home.
What are you thinking, Charlie, when you see this guy's video about how he got involved?
I think I understand why he got involved, but when you really think about it, with all the things going on, it's like that expression: you gotta choose your battles. And under the circumstances, if you really gave it some thought, I don't think this was a good battle for him to be a part of, even though you support it. Because, you know, we can support a lot of things doesn't mean that we become front line to ensure that it gets done. Because, you know, if you're in the spotlight, that means that you're going to be seen. And in this case, with this incident, you know, you're front and center. So, you know, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb, and anything that comes back, but you being front line, you're going to get caught in it. And I think that's basically where he is right now.
Yeah. Monica, the link to join is a StreamYard link, and it's in the show. So if you're able to see it, it's there. I put it in the comments here. I'm not sure how. I mean, if you're watching on Facebook, it should be in the comments. Yes. Can you guys look and see? Did it show up in Facebook?
It did.
It did. So it's in the Facebook comments, and it looks like it looks like you're both watching from Facebook. So you should be able to click on the link and join the broadcast. So that's basically it in a nutshell, guys. And the reason I wanted to bring all of this out, because I wanted to bring some real thought and conversation to this issue, because I know that a lot of the articles and a lot of the podcasts you've seen about this, I'm sure it didn't bring all this out, right? So I wanted to make sure that I brought all of it, everything that I could find to the show, so that we can have an honest conversation about it. You know, here's where I am when it comes to the church situation. If this guy really is not an ICE agent, that changes a few things for me. Okay. Now, do I say you can still tell the story? Yes, from the outside. Wait for him to come out or whatever, or something like that. But you know, it's one of those things where you're on one side or the other, and your decision can't be, well, because I just think that everything is wrong that's done to us, and you know, you got to look at it, peel it apart, and see what really happened. Now, here's the thing: Don Lemon is a journalist. Don Lemon has the right to interview people and report news. That is exactly what he has to do. Here's the trouble. This is what I was taught in journalism school: is don't be so quick to be the first to get the story. Make sure you get it right, because so many journalists want to get there and get it first, and then they get it wrong. I'm not saying that's what he did. I'm just saying that this is what I've always been taught. You know, I see you there, Jonathan. Okay, we're gonna bring Jonathan up to the show, guys. Welcome to the stage, Jonathan. How are you?
Hello, everybody.
Yeah,
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in and for being here and willing to come to the broadcast. Like I said, all opinions are welcomed here on the show. Tell us a little bit about who you are, Jonathan.
I'm doing fine, Miss Johnson. Thank you.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question, because we've been seeing your comments and I've been bringing
Hello,
a lot of
everybody.
them up.
Hello.
I'm glad you're here. What do you think about everything that we said tonight?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
He support ICE.
Jonathan,
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I'm a American born Black man. I have 6 children. I'm 60 years old. I reside in Houston, Texas. Are you guys in the area, or are you guys somewhere else?
We're all in different locations.
I'm a Christian. Of course. And I'm a Trump supporter.
Okay. Can you tell me why what is it about Trump and his values and his policies that you feel are good for you and your family?
Thank you.
Can you tell us what those are?
Well, most of it I disagreed with. However, you were pretty open-minded, and I like that. I like that diversity of thought. I like to welcome diversity of thought because. Can y'all hear me?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to know if you guys can hear me because you guys are breaking up. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
So continue what you were saying.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Keep saying what you were saying. Keep talking.
Are you there?
Yes, we're here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. I think the internet is messed up.
Okay. Well, can you hear me now?
I missed that.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me go out and come back in real quick.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, guys, as you can tell, we welcome. I see you back, Dr. Felicia. Thank you so much for joining us back tonight. Tonight, if you are just joining the broadcast, we're talking about Don Lemon. There's nothing new under the sun. What we're revealing tonight is different angles of this story that you probably haven't heard, but we want to let you know at the end of the broadcast, we're going to definitely talk about how this has happened before. This isn't the first time. Now we're unpacking what happened with Don and different things that we've heard. However, we're not going to negate the fact that yes, this could have been a targeted event because of who he is and what he stands for. Because it's not like it hasn't happened before to Black journalists before. Now, I want to tell you guys one who this has happened to that's more closely related to Don Lemon. Y'all ready for this? It's a guy called John Sullivan, 2021. This is the most recent comparison. He filmed the January 6th Capitol riot. This guy did. Okay. Now, Sullivan called himself an independent photojournalist and sold his footage to major networks. The DOJ argued that Sullivan wasn't just filming, he was inciting by shouting encouragement to rioters and wearing a ballistic vest. They claimed his presence emboldened the mob. Okay. Not that they couldn't get any router, but they said that him as a journalist, that he was a part of it. Now, the outcome, guess what happened? How many people want to guess? After everything I've told you, I'm going to see who can guess this. Was he found guilty, Charlie? Yes or no?
No.
Terry, do you think he was found guilty? Yes or no?
Yeah, you found guilty.
Heather?
Guilty.
All right, you guys, that would be correct. In 2024, Sullivan was sentenced to 6 years in prison. The court ruled that press credentials are not a shield if you are actively encouraging a crime. Now, here's the difference between him and Don Lemon. Unlike Lemon, Sullivan was recorded shouting phrases like, let's burn this down. The DOJ is trying to apply this same participant label to Lemon, though, even though he claims he remained professionally detached. So you see, there's a difference. This guy was shouting. It was obvious he wanted them to do whatever. As a journalist, you just take the photos. You don't get involved. You can't have an opinion. You can't be on one side or the other. You were there to report the news. And if you're reporting the news, you can't be biased. That is definitely a journalistic ethic. You have to just report the news. And that's why I disagree when he texted that guy and told him they don't believe you, because, it's like you're trying to protect him, or either you were trying to just be messy. I don't know. Sometimes reporters can be messy. So what do you think about that this guy was found guilty? Should he have been, Terry?
I mean, if they found him guilty by a jury of his peers, who was his attorney, right? So what was his defense? How, so he went to court, right?
Yeah, they found him guilty.
But
6 years in prison.
But there's been many a Black men that's been guilty and they were were innocent. That ain't enough. But I will say this. He was probably guilty if they got him. Did they have him on video yelling? Witnesses?
They heard him. They heard him saying he wasn't just filming, he was inciting by shouting encouragement to riders. So they must have heard it. They must have got him.
Yeah, no,
No, I totally agree. He should have been arrested. I'm not going
Yes.
to even go there with that one. When we break it down, I mean, we just have to be real about it. But here I do want to talk about in the civil rights era, because that's what this show is about. This is Black History Month. We are bringing real stories to you, showing you how there's nothing new under the sun. Now, whether Don did this or not, that is for the courts to decide. But judges didn't agree. That's what I'm going to say. So all these evidence that people say that there was, they must have not had it that day because they would have used it. Okay. So I'm just saying he did get arrested, true enough, but how he was released on his own recognizance. Okay. There was no bond set for him. Now for the other lady, Georgia Fort, there was a bond for her. So now they're all going through this. Now, the civil rights era. All right. We're going to talk about some of these journalists back in the day because, this is something that's exciting to me. During the 50s and 60s, guys, Black journalists covering civil rights movement was frequently accused of the same conspiracy that Don Lemon is facing. Okay. In the 50s and 60s, they were saying that about the civil rights movement. Can you imagine being a journalist in the civil rights movement period, Heather? Anything you say is going to be taken as you're conspiring to cause a riot or something, right? So we give little to that. Now the tactics. I want y'all to hear about some of the stuff that happened. The Southern sheriffs often arrested Black reporters, like those from the Chicago Defender, claiming they had prearranged protests with activists like MLK or the Freedom Riders. Okay, sounding familiar? Mm-hmm. The same thing is said about Don. He got with the activists to create this protest. Now the setup accusation. Listen to this. Authorities argue that because the journalists knew exactly when and where a secret sit-in would happen, they must have helped plan it. Sounding similar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But think about civil rights. We're in that moment again. I mean, we're back to the 1950s, 60s anyway with Trump in office.
Yeah, history is repeating itself.
Yeah.
That's why I started the show saying it. Now, the result. Most of these cases were used as a form of harassment and were eventually dropped. Okay. They do things, and this is proven, they do things to scare you. I mean, that's what lynching was. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but that is true. Am I lying? Lynching was to say, okay, the rest of y'all try it if you want to. Okay. So it looks like Monica is here, guys. I am glad to bring her to the stage. Hello, Monica. How are you? Hello, Monica. Monica, can you hear us? Hello. Monica, can you hear us? I don't know if she doesn't have her volume on. Monica. Hello, Monica. Can you hear us? Okay.
Sitting there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. She's unmuted herself. Monica, can you hear us now? Okay. All right. Well, you guys can see that two sides to every story here. We like to bring on even the opposition. But if your mic doesn't work, your mic doesn't work. So if you can figure it out, Monica, you're more than welcome to come back and join us here on the Ella Johnson Show, right?
The Ella Johnson Show, daily for the next 26 days. 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Come on.
Time. 7:30 Central.
All right.
Ella Johnson Show. Be there. I'll be square.
Now, I want you guys to talk about another lady. Her name is Andrea Sahori. She was a reporter for the Des Moines Register who was pepper sprayed and arrested during a 2020 protest. I remember when all those protests were going. Y'all remember when all the protests and stuff were going on in 2020?
Yes.
She was arrested during that time. Now, the prosecution argued that by being close to the protesters and failing to dispense, she was part of the legal gathering. They felt like she was part of it as well. Now, the outcome, let's tell you what she did. She was like, no, I'm taking it all the way. Y'all not finna do that to me. She took the case to trial and was acquitted. The jury agreed that her job required her to be exactly where the action was. That's what journalism is. And that staying with the crowd was a journalistic necessity, not a criminal choice. How many of you guys think, with everything you've heard tonight about Don Lemon, that he's going to be found innocent or guilty? What do you think, Heather?
I think he's probably going to be found innocent. I do. Even though I'm concerned about and have some questions about his integrity, I do think he's going to be found innocent. What do you think?
Innocent? What do you think, Terry?
I mean, he could be acquitted. He could be railroad too. So, I mean, it's 50-50 with me. I mean, I just want to see it play. Actually, I want to see it play out. Really.
But I mean, there's a lot of reasonable doubt too, even though I have some questions about his integrity and some of the history that might come out in court. I still kind of think that they don't have enough. Especially if they don't have him on video yelling, "Go get him," or whatever.
Yeah. I think that Don, this is what I think. I think that Don is going to be found not guilty. But I want him to rethink his strategy, though. I really would encourage that. Why? Because not everything is something that you jump on. As a journalist, you don't just jump for everything, because some could be leading you to a black hole. And now you've ruined your reputation.
So
find out first. Huh?
What about this? What about his co-defendants, right? What if they get to his co-defendants pertaining to that meeting that was held?
I'm so glad you said that, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to go for those co-defendants to get them to tell something. Hey, if you just tell us this and that, we'll get you off. Tell us something. That's what they're going to do next. You already know. You know how this goes. Yeah. You already know how this goes. They're going to try to get to the co-defendants and see if they could get somebody to turn up for the state. Right. So I don't know. I think that, people are like, this is informative, and I appreciate you guys for that, because I think that it is important. She said, Monica, we tried to get you. I had you there, but you weren't saying anything. She says, why can't we just stay out of this? This is not our LFA, Legacy Fighting Alliance. Well, why can't we stay out of this? How are we in it? Just because we're talking about it. This is not our fight. Of course it is, because it could be you tomorrow. And I personally think that, I wanted to talk about this because I know that it happened in Black history. It is Black History Month, and we're talking about Black history. Now, we could sit here all night and talk about stuff that happened in the 50s and 60s, but it's better to talk about stuff that happened in the 50s and the 60s that's happening in 2026. Don't you guys think that's a better conversation? So
yes,
that's why we're talking about it, and that's why we're here tonight, Monica, to talk about this. I know my phone was trying to connect. Okay. Well, maybe we'll get you another time, because I would love to have you on the broadcast. Now, let's go back to some Black history, guys. How many of you have heard that word agitator? Outside agitator.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want everybody to understand. This is not the first time the Department of Justice has used this against someone African American. Outside agitator, that's a very common theme against us, especially now during this type of time. Now, the logic, they said that local Black citizens wouldn't stir up trouble on their own. Get this, they wouldn't think of this on their own. The reporters coming from the North were actually agitators who were planning the disruptions. Because, they said that about Martin Luther King as well. He's an agitator. Like, what do you want? People just stay there and let their houses get burned down, and you steal all their land, and we're not supposed to fight back in any way? We're supposed to just take it? Okay. That's why I like Nat Turner. I'm just saying. All right. The legal trap by labeling a reporter. Think about it, guys. By labeling a reporter an outside agitator, police felt justified in arresting them for inciting a riot of conspiracy, rather than respecting their First Amendment right to document the event. Were his rights violated? His First Amendment rights?
Possibly.
Possibly. You say possibly. Why you say possibly? Talk to me.
Because I mean that's part of it. That's part of what they trying. That's what the prosecutor's going to say. What you didn't have no First Amendment right to do what you done. You know. Then
Let's talk about.
His defense attorney going to say that he had First Amendment possibility rights. You know what I mean? So that's the real battle through it all.
Let's talk about what the DOJ is saying. To be a conspirator, you must have an agreement to commit the act. The DOJ argues that Lemon's presence, combined with his actions, like turning off his mic to keep the location secret, constitutes an agreement to help the protesters disrupt the church. The overt act, interestingly, this specific federal law doesn't require Lemon to have physically blocked a door. If a jury believes he agreed to the plan to ensure he got exclusive footage, that agreement alone can be enough for a conviction. Now, the embedded versus accomplished. Remember, I told you that embedded is just showing up, getting the information as a journalist. Accomplice is obviously the opposite of that, meaning you were there because you're part of it. The defense argues Lemon was an embedded journalist, okay, like a war correspondent with a platoon. The prosecution argues he was an accomplice who used his camera as a tool for the disruption. What do you think about that, guys? We're almost out of here. What do you think about that?
That's kind of iffy. They're gonna have to really prove that. And how did they say he used the camera?
They said that he used it as a tool, like a weapon, like it was,
Physically?
Yeah. They're reaching. I know.
Yes.
They're reaching.
So here's the thing. They hoping something stick, right?
There it is.
They coming with
There it
all
is.
different, and that's the way the administration is operating anyway. They put so much stuff out there, something's gonna stick. While y'all fighting all this other stuff, we doing some other stuff over here. So they, it's trumped up charge. It's true enough, right? So the prosecutors just hoping something stick. Something gonna hold on to it. That's just how it go in jurisprudence.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then when you go back down into the Black history as well, I mean, you got back in Ferguson, you guys remember that they claimed that the protesters weren't from Ferguson. You hear that all the time. They're paid agitators. They're paid lunatics. We hear our president say this all the time, that these people can't be Republicans that are out there mad about ICE. It has to be the left-wing lunatics, right? Let's talk about the stuff that comes out of his mouth. Give me 3 words for it, Terry. What are 3 words that you could come up with just like off the top of your head when you think about Trump and the foolishness that comes out of
Wildest shit ever.
That's 3 words. I gotta give it to you. They go together.
Right.
Woo, Heather, what are the first 3 words that come out of your mind when you think about all this stuff that Trump is saying? I mean, for a president, that's kind of classless, but I think people have gotten, used to it. I will never get used to it. I just have higher standards for someone in that position. That's why I can't respect him. But anyway, go ahead, Heather.
He always, when I look at him, I think of a 12-year-old boy thinking he's a boy. And he thinks like a little boy.
Well, here's the thing. He really like it's a dream, right? He kind of like living out a dream. He want to be known in history, somebody like Alexander the Great and those type of characters. He living that dream to be that
Like a
really,
12-year-old boy.
right.
I mean, but he's been able to get away with doing some of this foolishness that he's doing and people are scared of him, and Congress is not respecting the Constitution and allowing it to happen.
So Monica said that we know they are paid. We just saw that with Renee Good. I'm gonna Google that because I don't know where you got that. Where did you get that from, Monica? That this woman was paid? Was she paid? Can somebody that's watching this, Dr. Felicia, Google that for me? Google
I like
that for
what
me.
Dr. I like what Dr. Felicia said. Buffoonery, foolery, and ignorance.
She's got her words. Let's see what she said. Buffoonery, foolery. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Felicia. I couldn't have said it better myself. Listen. I don't see how anybody can be proud of this type of representation. This is not about the man. This is about, everyone talks about we should respect the position. Then he should respect the position.
Yes.
Respect that God allowed you to be president of the United States for all people, not just Republicans. And unfortunately, this is I know you guys had to hear this on the Ella Johnson show because you haven't heard it before, but not everyone is a fan of Trump, even though they are Republicans. Not everybody's a fan of some of the Democratic views just because they are Democrat. Okay.
Right.
Let's first of all establish that. I hate that we have to go all the way back because it's very elementary, but it is obvious that not everyone, even the congressmen that are Republican, don't agree with Trump all the time. Let's get that out of the way. We don't have to play games. That's real.
Right.
Okay. And it's okay to not like the person you voted for. You should hold them to a higher standard. If you're not, something's wrong with you.
You know what I
Go
I
ahead.
think about? I think about him and his staff is that like they was all bullied in school and now they got some power and they all want to get back for how they was treated coming up through life. You know what I mean? Like they playing games with everybody's life. Like we fit. I'm fit to have retribution on everybody that did something to me growing up. That that's for me. That's how I look
No
at it.
credible evidence to support.
My Ella Johnson show researcher just notified us, Monica, that AI said it. I didn't say it. AI said it. And they know everything, right? No credible evidence to support that Renee Good was a paid activist. So you're going to have to bring it. For me to see it, show me something. Where was she paid? Show me where anyone was paid.
Right.
There could have been people were paid for Republicans. I mean, that's a mute issue, I think. I don't really care about that. What we really do care about is tonight's broadcast is I can agree with that to a certain extent. We really needed someone strong. Strong how? How is he strong? Because he can talk and bully people? That's not strength. That's actually weakness. Obama got a lot more done by just being humble. I'm just saying. He hates Obama so much, but he wants to be like him. He wish he could have that kind of charisma, and people now still love him. I mean, being a bully doesn't say strength, Monica. I'm sorry. I disagree with you guys. Do you guys agree with me on that one? That just because he can bully doesn't mean he's strong?
No, he's 12. You said 3 words, 12-year-old. Thinking. And that's scary because I'm going to be honest. I don't think Trump has ever been smart in his life. And he's been able to get away with not being smart because of all the money he has.
Yeah.
And he's a bully.
Yeah. And I mean, he's not even a good bully because he chickens out very quickly.
True.
Like by tonight, he'll say that he's going to do something. By tomorrow, he's already changed on it. So, an unstable man is unstable in all his ways, is how I see it. So I'm not trying to bash Trump. That's not what this is. We are elevating Black history tonight on the Ella Johnson show. And it's because we can. And because it is Black History Month, even though I don't really care about the term Black history, it's American history. These things that we're talking about happen on American soil, whether we like it or not. I know they tried to hide it for 100 years. I know you don't want people talking about this because it messes up our image. Well, you did that from the very beginning. I mean, when you think about America, I'm going to be honest with you. I was talking to someone the other day, and I was explaining how proud I was of this country and how we're the best and all of this, and they were like, "Who told you that? who told you that we're the best?" And I couldn't respond because haven't you always felt like we were the best, Terry and Heather? Yes? No?
As an American,
Yeah.
yeah, in sports, and I don't think we've been the best to people of color. I don't think we've been the best to women. I don't think we've been I don't know. We're the best when it comes to sports. We're the best when it comes to making money, but I don't, no, no,
Okay,
no.
Monica, I've heard this is right out
I
of the
totally
Republican
cannot hear
playbook, all
nothing
of this
now.
stuff that I'm seeing. Like I hear this all the time. Obama didn't do anything for just us. You're right. Ding, ding, ding. He wasn't supposed to. You know why? Because he's not the president for just us. So you just unknowingly gave Obama a compliment because that's kind of what a president is supposed to do. There was nothing he did for just us. You're right. See, Monica, I knew that you and I could agree on something. You're absolutely right. He did not do anything for just us. He wasn't supposed to. So thank you for that. Somehow he managed to pass all the gay rights and he managed to give the Holocaust survivors $15 million. What did we get? Well, that's a good question, Monica. We're still looking into that. I wish you could share some more information about that because I don't have that because that's not what I wanted to talk about tonight. But if Dr. Felicia, if you can Google me something and drop it in here, I'd appreciate it. She wants to know, what did we get? Holocaust survivors got $15 million. What did we get? All right. Passing gay rights. I mean, aren't there gay people in the world? Yes. There are gay people in the world, right? And lesbians, LBGT. There are a lot of them in the world, right? Do they not deserve to have rights? Do they not deserve to have, do they deserve to be alienated just because of the choices they made? Because that, whatever they're doing with their life is between them and God. That is not for the president of the United States to decide. Because if we're going to start looking whose name is on the roll, okay? So I'm just saying, I don't think he's in a moral position to talk about anybody. I'm just saying. That's just me. Okay.
And the Holocaust isn't actually an American. America did not pay for that. That was paid over in Germany. They just assisted the Holocaust victims that are here in America. So that wasn't even our issue or a U.S. issue. They made it their issue, but they're not going to make our reparations their issue.
Right. Well, we're going to still talk about them reparations, baby. I want my check. I want you to do what you promised on paper. Right?
Amen.
Monica says, I agree with you, American history. Thank you, Monica. I just think we were lied to about our history. Absolutely. We were lied to about a lot of stuff.
We
were. I gave you facts. We did for one ethnic group. Okay. Well, you just responded to that one about the Holocaust. Thank you. So why didn't all the other white presidents Democrat? I don't know what you mean by that. But let's just be honest, guys. Don't you want a president that knows how to address everybody, even the people that don't agree with him? I mean, listen, Monica, you came on strong tonight and you didn't agree with what we were saying. What's the other young man? Jonathan came on. We didn't all agree, but look at the respect we showed one another. That's class. And I'm just a talk show host, right? This is what I expect out of my president. We may not agree, but we got to live together. We got to live. Now, Terry, you are just black than the screen. I don't know what's going on over there. Get your camera together, friend. Get your camera together, friend. Ooh, Lord have mercy, Jesus. Help us, Father. Okay, Dr. Felicia says, athletes best at leaving legacy to others' nationality communities is what blacks receive from Obama. The question. Yes, that's the question. That's what Monica wants to know. Everybody wants to know.
I think sometimes, can I say this? I
Yes,
think a lot
ma'am.
of times we look at the president as Trump has reached to the local level. I mean, when you send in ICE into communities to control or go pick up people and it starts to affect people's everyday life, Trump has got into the locality. When you're a president, you're not supposed to be that deep in your reach. And so when people talk about Obama not doing for the community, that really goes to your local government. Those are the people that look at your housing, and those are the people that, they reach up for like the food stamp program and the free lunch program to bring it down to the local level. A lot of times we need to be talking to our city councilors, our aldermen. Those are the people
yeah.
who really affect our day to day.
Yeah. I thank you, Monica. Good night to you. Obama used ICE also. Yes, he did. And we never heard anything about it. You know why? Because
He wasn't.
he did it with class. He didn't try to make a spectacle of him. You know,
He
he
didn't
didn't
come
try
on.
to look like a tough guy.
He wasn't
That's
policing the
ridiculous.
street.
I
He
mean, come
wasn't
on.
policing the street.
There's no comparison there. All right, please don't bring up Obama and how there is no comparison between Obama and Trump. Let's just put that out there. I don't think there's anybody that would deny that, even the people that voted for him. There's no comparison. Okay. So we're not going to go there. We're not going to waste our time talking about that. We can clearly see that this man is off his rocker. Just saying. I'm saying that in as best journalistic as I can. 56 people killed under Obama. Okay. 56 people killed under Obama, I guess, with the immigration. Can you give us some context on that? People die every day. What's the context behind 56 people killed under Obama? Because if you're trying to turn me against Obama, I mean, if people were killed and they weren't done, things weren't done the right way, then I would say the same thing, whether it's Obama, Trump, Bush, doesn't matter. See, I don't change like that. It is what it is. Okay, but just saying it doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't say, I know that Republicans and people that support a certain talking points, they all say the same thing. It's like you can already know what's coming. And just give me the statistical proof. Show me,
Because we didn't have 20 people.
She says, I agree. None. Okay. I like when you're agreeing, Monica. Because, girl, let me tell you, you've made me work for this show tonight. I'm telling you. You have made me work for it. All right. Dr. Felicia says Affordable Care Act, HBCU funding, criminal justice reform. That's just a few of them, Monica. Okay? That's just a few. But we're not going any deeper than that. Thank you, Dr. Felicia. This show is not about that tonight. I would never turn you against anyone. I'm just fair. We can't call one out and not the other. You're absolutely right, dear. We can't. You're a journalist and you don't know this. Okay, Monica. Okay. I'm always going to do what's right. Okay. So then, Monica, if you're going to do what's right, then tell me, do you always agree with the stuff that Trump says, or you just act like that's just Trump? Because if you do believe that, he can say whatever, then you're part of the problem. Just saying. And I'm saying that with all the love I could give you. That's part of the problem. You got to hold him accountable. We didn't get $15 million for reparations. No, we didn't. No, we didn't, Heather. No. Monica has put us to the task. She said, well, y'all, reparations. She right. She's right. I ain't got my check. Did you get your mule? Did you get your 40 acres? Nope. I didn't get mine either. So we still waiting on it, Monica. And I think you are too, because I think if they gave it to you, I don't think that you would care whether Trump was the president or not. Just saying. So anyway, guys, that's a great conversation. But I want to talk about, we're going to get out of here. We're almost ready to get out because I know you guys, and I wasn't supposed to be on here this long tonight. But I want to show you guys some of the Ida B. Wells. These are some of the reporters from back in the day. Let me tell you what Ida B. Wells is known for. She is the light of truth, right? That's what they call her. She's the light of truth. And she is known as the mother of investigative journalism. She realized that those who commit the murders write the reports, right? So I just want to share that with you guys. There's Ida B. Wells. There's Ethel Payne. These are some of the real ones, guys. And Alice Dunnigan. These are just some that I wanted to share with you guys tonight. But we are definitely going to go ahead and get ready to get out of here. Heather, do you have anything that you would like to say before we go?
No, this was good, good informative meeting tonight. I'm glad I got to sit in. I learned a little bit more about Don Lemon I didn't know.
I know, right? Hey, listen, that's what it's all about. You know, I'm not going to just come in here and tell one side. I'm not going to waste my time with that. I have to make sure that we're bringing it to the table and then we make a decision from there. But we can't make an informed decision if we're not informed, right?
Mhm.
So when you know better, you respond to it differently when you know. So I welcome anybody to go and Google some of the stuff that we talked about tonight. But I had to dig deep to find some of this stuff. Monica says she doesn't agree with everything Trump does, but that's good. That's the first sign that you all right. Because if you, she's all right, guys. The Ella Johnson Show, Monica is all right with me. You are always all right with me, Monica, whether you agree with what we're saying or not. Listen, we've had fun tonight. We've had a good conversation. I want to thank you for going back and forth with us, and Jonathan and all of you that have tuned in tonight. Terry,
Yes.
how do we wrap this up tonight?
We're gonna wrap this
Let's
up.
wrap it up.
If you think this was a wonderful show tonight and a very informative show tonight on the Ella Johnson Show, just wait till tomorrow to see what we got for you tomorrow. We're gonna be more
I know
informed.
that's
We're gonna be more hinged on what we bringing to you. So be prepared. Come in here tomorrow and be informed on the Ella Johnson Show. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Central. We'll be here.
all right. Was that not a good commercial or what? Did he say that?
That's
He's
right.
in and out all night, in and out on us. Like what's going on with that? So Heather, I want you to share your thoughts now, because you know we started off. That's why when I started the broadcast, I wanted to ask everyone what they felt about Don Lemon, because I wanted to see where you were when we started versus where you are now that we're about to end the conversation. Now that you know more, and tell me and the guests, does that matter when you do know more?
It does matter when you know more. You can make a better decision. My thing is, I'm a little concerned, and I was never like a Don Lemon fan, but I was never against him either. And now I'm going home to read a little bit more about him. While we were sitting here, I was looking up why he was even fired from CNN. And because I never even paid it any attention for the real reasons why he was fired from CNN, and that he had questionable things for the reasons why they fired him. So now I'm at a point where I don't know what to think about him.
Oh, wow. You went from being sure to
Mhm.
not knowing what to think. Terry, what about you?
I mean, Don Lemon, I knew he got fired. I knew that he gonna tell it like it is. He felt that what was needed. He did real good journalism work. He still do good journalism work. I'm for Don Lemon. You best believe I am for Don Lemon, right? And so, but I hate he in a pickle right now. That's all. I just hate he's in a pickle. They coming after him. You know, uh, retribution and revenge. That's Donald Trump's administration.
Yeah, because the law is not about what we think. I will say this, based on my reading, that the Jussie Smollett situation almost cost him his job at CNN. I will say
Right.
that.
Well,
He
when you
was-
first
yeah.
brought up that story, and my heart kind of sunk. I was like, "Ugh, I can't believe he would do that and jeopardize." And the first thing I thought was he's jeopardizing his job by doing something like that. I mean, that questions people's integrity about you, your integrity. I don't know. I'm a little upset to hear the stuff that I've heard about him,
I'm
and I
sorry.
watch him all the time on TikTok.
I do
'cause
too. I am a huge supporter of Don Lemon. I'm rooting for him. I hope that he makes it through this situation. I just, like I said, I would, if I could talk to him, I would say, listen, if you really were not part of that protest, because you can't, As a journalist, you can't be a part of that. And if you were, and somebody talks, then you are going to ruin your reputation. However, if you were not part, and this is me talking to Don Lemon, because I respect him, I look up to him, you know, being in this field, this is something I aspire. I watched him for years, but I'm not about foolishness either. And I respect the journalism ethics that we all swear to. And I would tell him, listen, before you jump on something like this, make sure you got your facts right. Because the worst thing you could do is be the first to get it out there and get it out there wrong. That's the worst thing you could do. And I learned something tonight, and I want to Google it. Dr. Felicia, do me a favor. I want to know, was that guy still an ICE agent? I really want to know that, because that came out tonight, and you, Heather, said that I don't know, did we all know that? Or was that something that Monica or Jonathan brought to the...
One of the two brought that. I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that either.
I thought he was. I thought he was still part of ICE.
So let me ask you a question. Does it matter? Does it matter if he was still part of ICE? Okay, so do tell. If they say that, yes, he was still part of ICE, you agree that, okay, well, it was okay then.
Say that last part again.
If the truth is that, yes, he was still ICE, guys. I don't know what Monica was talking about. That was true. If it is true that he was part of ICE, does that change your opinion?
No, I still got to know the truth about why Don Lemon went there. The man could be a part of ICE, but you gotta be, your integrity's in question. Were you a part of this whole plot? It's still, that part still matters in this. I don't care whether that man was ICE or not. Were you doing the right thing?
What is the name of the ICE agent? Oh, yeah.
I know it's a pastor. I read his. I had his name.
Where's his name? I
wrote his name down.
Parnell. Pastor Parnell. That's his last name. He was a little dramatic about how he described the scene. Now, you know, he got to do too much. You know, he got to get his 15 minutes. Go on and get it, baby. Go on and get it. Because he was very dramatic about that. It ain't like he came in there with sticks and stuff. Okay, they came in with a camera. Come on. I mean, I think you're just doing too much now. You're doing the most now.
So here's the thing I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. Was he an ICE agent of old, or he's an ICE agent currently? You know what I mean?
That's
what we
she
see
just
ICE
said.
Agents to be today, right? 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I just knew an ICE agent to be somebody that take you in and go on. I didn't think about an ICE agent running around in the streets like they real police officers. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not surprised if he was an ICE agent and he's a pastor. I mean, you had sheriffs and policemen being KKK.
True.
That doesn't surprise me. So
right.
The fact that they say, "Oh, well, he was a pastor." What do you mean he didn't? Come on now, miss me with that. Don't go there.
But think about this. If Trump is taking up I don't know what's going on now because I didn't look the news, but Kristi Noem and all the people that he's was praising at first, why wouldn't he take up for a pastor who may be an ICE agent at a church? Why wouldn't he take up for him and do this to Don Lemon?
Okay, so here's what I found. Based on available reports regarding City's Church in Minnesota, Pastor Jonathan Parnell is not identified as an ICE agent. The controversy involves a different individual, David Easterwood, who is identified as a pastor at that church and also the acting director of the ICE St. Paul field office. Parnell is the lead pastor.
So was he not there that night?
So they're saying reports identify David Easterwood as both the pastor at City's Church and the head of the local U.S. immigration. So apparently the guy that is part of ICE does go to that church. Now, whether that's who he encountered or not, that's what we got to keep looking at. But it does look like he was there.
Wow.
He's not.
He is a pastor,
right.
isn't he?
AI says
He's
the lead pastor.
He's the lead pastor.
He's the lead pastor. He's not the one that's part of ICE. There's someone that goes there who is part
Oh,
of ICE. David Easterwood. Yeah.
So why they
so
He's
make
the
it
ICE agent.
like it's a pastor?
See, there are a lot of details. And that's like I said, if Don Lemon here, I would say, look, Don, talk to me. When you went into that church, did you know for a fact? You just knew that they were going to go in there. So this is the thing. Don can't know all of that because then it looks like you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
So someone knows, why did you go in that morning? Were you alerted that guy Easterwood was in there? Was he the one? And see, when you interrupt and other people are coming to serve, this is where it's a fine line for me. Some stories are not worth it.
Yeah.
I would not just jump, hey Ella, they're gonna have this. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, who? Because you could be getting set up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You could actually be getting set up into an ambush. And now you've ruined everything because you just want it to be on it first. Yeah, they say everything
Yeah.
gold ain't glitter.
Yes.
Everything that glitters ain't gold. I got to mix up. Everything that glitters ain't gold. Okay. That's a glitter moment.
So make this clear to me. Was the guy, so he was just a member of the church?
He is a pastor too.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I read.
Easterwood is also a pastor at the
Maybe like
church
youth
and the head of the
pastor.
local ICE. So in other words, here in a nutshell, guys, I know we've been going back and forth, but what we're saying is that they bombarded the church, and it looks like Parnell was the one doing all the talking. But Easterwood was a pastor at that church, so they had it right. He was a pastor there. He just wasn't the head pastor, but he was a pastor there, and he is part of ICE. So there is a pastor at that church who is part of ICE. He leads the ICE. Now, let me ask you a question. Can you be a pastor and still be part of ICE?
You can, but lawfully. You have to be, you have to
Terry,
practice.
talk to me. Now we getting into a whole different conversation. Can you be a pastor and an ICE agent too?
There's pastors
Or is
that's
that a
police
conflict?
officers, right?
Huh?
There's pastors that's highway patrols, right? There's pastors that were Ku Klux Klans, right? So
Yeah,
I mean,
that would be correct. Yeah.
you can, you can be a pastor in ICE, but are you involved with terrorizing people as a pastor on your job?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you doing it with integrity? And I think the thing for us is ICE has never gotten this kind of attention. Most people that know much about ICE are people who are worried about their legal issues in the country. So for me, you can be an ICE agent, but if you're doing the job legally the right way, but Trump has flipped what an ICE agent looks like in society.
It's caused people to look at them differently because of all his rhetoric. I agree.
You haven't had that under any other president where they're running around.
Because it's a respectable job.
Yeah.
It's not like it's KKK. I think it's
Exactly.
a respectable job.
And now their hiring practices are questionable. I mean, some of the people look
I
like
heard
the
about all
Proud
that
Boys.
too. Yeah.
They
So
are
we-
the Proud Boys. Shit.
I mean, they've given a bad name to a lot of it because it's not done in integrity. But here's the thing. This is the one question I would ask Don Lemon if he were here. And I want you guys to say, I'll say mine last. Heather, if Don Lemon were on the broadcast right now, we were getting ready to wrap up. What would you ask him?
I'd ask him, did you do this? Did you really do this? I'd want to gauge him in his face. I would do face to face. Did you really do this? Because
I'm just going straight for it. I'm not going to dress it up. I'm not putting no pretties on it. Bruh, did you do this? Carrie, what would your question be before we get
I
out
would
of here?
ask him, how sure is he of him getting an acquittal in a jury of his peers?
Because you think you're guilty.
Wait a minute. What did he say, Heather?
Something about the
I would ask him, how sure is he in getting a acquittal from the jury of his peers.
I mean, I think he's confident that he's going to get acquitted because if
Yeah.
they can't prove that he was part of
Right,
the
so that's it.
activism of it.
I want to
Yeah.
hear him say that. I want to hear him, speak that.
I would ask him, Don, let me ask you a question. What were you hoping to accomplish by being there filming this? What did we get out of it? What did we get out of seeing them go into the church? Like I'm missing some pieces and maybe I need to dig more. I just want to know what was the purpose of that? What was the purpose? That's all I want to say. However, guys, tonight's broadcast was about making sure you know some of your Black history and to see that, yes, there is nothing new under the sun. Now, whether Don Lemon is guilty or not, that is to be seen. That is for a court to decide. However, what has happened to him is not new. Okay. And if you're going to take that into consideration, I want you to take the whole picture, though, with you, because that's what tonight's broadcast was to let you see that, yeah, there's nothing new under the sun. These things that we're seeing happening before us today, they are repeating themselves. He is not the first Black journalist to be accused of something like this. Okay. Being an agitator, those kinds of words, that's common. That's what that's how they label us. Have you ever heard a white person being labeled an agitator as a journalist? Google that for me, doctor, before I say stuff that's wrong. Because I'm a journalist and everything, and I just don't want to be wrong on stuff. Just saying. But yeah, let me see. I'm going to grab one more comment over here, guys, and we're going to get out of here. Dr. Felicia says, pastor working as an ICE agent presents a fundamental moral and ethical conflict of interest. Okay. As reported by the New Hampshire Public Radio, activists argue this dual role compromised religious duties and pastoral care, particularly regarding immigrant communities, leading the call for resignations. That puts a twist on things, doesn't it?
It's saying,
I can see that. I can see where it can be a conflict of interest. What if you got to give pastoral care to an immigrant? Can you do it? Or you be like, look, I wanted to love on you, but I'm going to love on you first, but I'm going to have to arrest you when I get done loving on you. Right? Like, how does that work? So I can see the conflict of interest there. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. I appreciate you all so much. I know I don't want to take up too much of your time. I wasn't supposed to stay here this long tonight. I said Monday through Friday, it's an hour. We're in and we're out, baby. Because I got my chicken over there cooking. Okay? It's probably burnt now. Because I couldn't leave. All right. So we're going to get out of here, guys. Listen, when it comes to what we're going through, we know that they aren't inventing new charges. They're just using the same old lock on a new door. Tonight, we've looked into the mirror of history and seen a reflection that's over 100 years old. Yeah, we talked a lot about stuff. When they called Don Lemon a conspirator, remember this, Ida B. Wells was also called the same for simply counting the bodies they wanted to hide. All right, I'm going to show you. When they call him an outside agitator, remember this, that the Chicago Defender was treated like contraband for telling our people that a better life was possible. Ain't that something? The government wants us to believe that it's about a church. They want you to believe that. They want you to believe it's about this church in Minnesota. But Ethel Payne, Alice Dunnigan, they taught us better. That's what we tried to bring to you tonight. They taught us better. They taught us that when the state tries to strip a Black reporter of their credentials, it's because they're terrified of the questions being asked. And anyone that follows Don Lemon, you know he does not mind. There's nothing new under the sun. The tactics are old, but the truth is timeless. As Ida said, the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. Now, tonight, we've turned that light on, and we aren't turning it off until justice is served. Like I said, whatever Don did or didn't do, that's for the law to decide. But I am on his side, and that's real talk. Mm-hmm. I am on his side. I'm rooting for him. I just hope that, because my opinion of him is not going to change if he was part of this, but justice has to be served no matter what.
Mhm.
However, if this is just a ploy to try to silence him, then I think he's going to be found innocent,
Yeah.
and it's going to backfire. Because I have a lot of respect for him, and I know that he knows journalistic ethic. I do think he knows. You can't be in this field and haven't been told that you can't just be this way. You can't go into this, and you can't do that, because you really don't want to lose your reputation. You don't want to ruin your reputation as a journalist. So you got to stay here. Stay here. It's nothing wrong with telling the facts, but stay where you're supposed to be as a journalist, especially if that's your defense, right? And that is his defense. I was not there as an activist. I was there as a journalist. That's for the law to decide, but we're going to get out of here. We're going to see you guys tomorrow night. I have one more comment here. Dr. Felicia, I see you, Doctor. Alex Preddy, Kyle Wagner, labeled as agitator. Oh, see? Okay. And they're white. Perhaps it was a setup. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll be back again tomorrow night. Now, tomorrow night, we are going to talk about the FBI raids. All of you have heard about what happened over there in Fulton County with the Supervisor of Elections office being raided. Listen, nothing new under the sun, right? Haven't we heard about these raids? A lot of stuff. That's all coming up tomorrow night right here on the Ella Johnson Show. We'll be back at what time? Terry, talk to him and tell him one more time before we go.
Tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 Central Standard Time. We'll see you tomorrow.
There it is. All right. We'll see you guys. Have a great evening.
Good.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now. And we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
We love Ella Johnson Show.